Today's adventure begins the starting point of what I will be finding and roaming around through is at 2491 Babb Road in Kissimmee, Florida, the site of the Pioneer Village at Shingle Creek, where you can do hiking, biking, paddling trails, and a picnic area. And that's not all. Now normally this is open, this little section of history. These old-timey buildings and facades from this neck of the woods. However, today it might not be. Welcome everyone, TheDailyWoo here. My thoughts were correct. Closed until further notice. However, there are plenty of paths to walk around this section, and you just kind of look over the fences and just read the placards and give a little historical information as I try to stay away from crowds, congregations of people, but also take in some fresh air and stay active. I'm inviting you to join me. Shall you? Nice little train station set up over there and water tower. And it states Pioneer Village on the sign. Let's zoom out just a little bit. The information I was referring to are written here. For example, the Yates Fords in the 1880s and before, when settlements in Osceola County were just beginning, there were few roads as such, mainly wagon trails and no bridges over Shingle Creek. You can get a pretty good vibe and ambiance from these old structures. Takes one back. This map gives a kind of a general overview of the layout of the land back then. There is a mail route designated here, and you can see some of the lakes and other objects in there as well. Date stamp says 1915, this workshop. And if you look to the left of the screen under that cover out of the elements, there's an old pickup truck or a tractor of some sort. Also that same year, an equipment storage shed. Funding for the acquisition of the site was provided by the Florida Communities Trust. And while it is open to the public to wander around, due to, oh goodness, the fenced off portion where the historical buildings are stated is just a small percentage of the area. You can see here just how vast it is. And we're used to seeing a lot of dispensers that you put your hands under lately, but this is for sunscreen. I don't think I've ever seen a sunscreen dispenser before. That's a new one. The US flag, the state flag, as well as the county up there waving in the breeze. Sun glimmering down. Really is a beautiful day, a beautiful warm day. A better look at that vehicle that's sitting here. It almost looks as if it's on tracks, like it would go on a... No, I think the wheel's just been removed. Yeah, the back wheel is there. The front wheel, at least the wood portion of the wheel's gone. Pole barn, also from 1915. You can see the parking lot, probably about a dozen cars or so of people who have parked and doing a little hiking out and about. That's a fantastic tree. Something very nostalgic and gives you the proper feels by seeing a church steeple like this. You know, one from way back in the day. The good old days. Can see John Boy walking by. blacksmith shop all sealed up. No sign of the blacksmith. If you'd like to sit on a skunk, these are available. The skunk on the far end. And this is a squirrel, a very giving squirrel that's holding an acorn. Almost like saying, "Take this acorn, you know you want it." That's just my interpretation of his voice. Some remnants have been unearthed. That's a dinosaur there. And some prehistoric footprints and bones. 0.06 miles. I was gonna say that's a little over half a mile, but 0.06, that's not half a mile, a little over half a mile. That's half of 1/10 of a mile. I guess they're referring to this little stretch here. The limbs are touching the ground and then protruding upward. Have to look from afar. At any moment, a wagon, horse and wagon, buggy could cruise by. It wouldn't surprise me. A little over 7 years ago, I stood at this spot. So seeing this overturned root system brings back some memories. Now that was before the Pioneer Village you see off in the distance was moved from across Highway 192 to this current spot it now resides in. This was a lot more desolate than it is now. And looking at this tree makes me realize how certain things that you do when you're younger and the way you react to them, you wish you could have a redo. Sometimes you just wish you could talk to your younger self and say, "What the heck were you doing? Calm down a bit. Calm down, younger Adam. It'll all be fine." And it is. Everything's good. That's not me panting. This particular section is a habitat restoration area. Do not walk over into there. So peaceful out here. This is a great idea from keeping certain animals from getting the birds food. For example, if a squirrel was to come along and the bird had its food up in the house there, the squirrel could simply just climb up, or other animals, but squirrel's the first thing that comes to my mind, would climb up, stick its paws down in there, and dig the food out, leaving the birds none of their food that's designated for them. So that's where this little cone object comes in. Makes it a little more difficult. Unless the squirrel is crafty. Maybe jumping from that limb. I could see that happening. Oh yeah. Now that I see that. No food for the birds. Some burrowing going on these holes down in the ground. The most prominent one, or a prominent series of them, are here. Something is digging, maybe not burrowing, but something is digging into the soil, as evident by these. Not your standard type roof on those three buildings. Little picnic areas. It's made of thatch or grass or leaves of some sort. Whoa, that is a healthy walk. 25 miles if I were to continue down this path. I'll take it for a little bit and then kind of circle back. Not sure how well this will show up on camera, but there are dragonflies just swirling around in here. Lots of dragonflies. Like 50 or 100 of them or more. Hello there. Stay away from those bird feeders. You hear me? It's not for you, squirrel. A few different types of trees, including a palm and one that kind of has a swirling upward motion. You look at the roots there, how they just kind of swirl in and then almost looks like soft serve ice cream as it goes up the trunk and all the way higher than the other ones that are around. Look at that thing. You are here. Early settlers harvested cypress trees for use as shingles, thus giving the name to the headwaters of the Everglades, Shingle Creek. I never knew that. That's pretty interesting. How's the view up there? Can you see for miles and miles? See ya. The school of fish swimming by. Oh, hey! I know it's an overused joke, but please don't bail on it. Crossed over Highway 192. That is the thoroughfare of the bridge there, with the traffic going by. Still on the same creek, standing on this dock. And there are some historical relics over on this side as well. an array of cypress knees. That would be the smaller version. Not quite a tree, just little knees. There's a few there. They're usually right by the water, and a patch of them over there. Cypress knees. The families, mostly farmers and cattlemen, lived along the creek that provided water, fish, and a waterway to Allendale, which in 1883 became Kissimmee. I'm gonna go walk across that bridge, going all the way back to 1880. This family cabin was owned by the Steffis, S-T-E-F-F-E-E. The first bridge to cross the creek was built for the Florida Midland Railway, and the depot was less than a half-mile northwest from this location. These bolts have different coloration: green, yellow, red, and brown. Some pieces of the older version of the bridge still down there. Of course, this new one has been constructed. This cat doesn't have a care in the world. Do you, cat? In 1883, Judson Harmon Steffi and his wife Molly and their 3 children moved from Kentucky to Florida. And then later, in 1911, the family built this house. Decades later, it was restored and sits here preserved for all to see. George used to captain Clay Johnson's steamboat, the Rosiada, R-O-S-E-A-D-A, operated it until 1926 when it was destroyed by a hurricane. Henry Haynes later lived in these accommodations. And that's Henry chilling on the front of that vehicle. This thing is pretty sweet, especially for that time frame. Nice porch. Large porch. Get all the family members there just hanging out. Wow, wraps around. Tucked away over in this corner is a framed photograph of some of the animals you can find around these parts. A bird called an ibis, a limpkin, osprey, an apple snail on the top right there, and of course alligators, snakes, hawks, and maybe even the occasional North American river otter. Hello in there. Also notice that the woodwork there, that trestle out there in the woods. The remnants of the past. Not the dog that's barking, but I heard something else rummaging around down in there. Might have been a deer. Don't see it or hear it now. That's gonna do it for today. If you're new here, please subscribe. By doing so, it helps keep you in the loop and up to date on future uploads here on this channel. You can take it a step further, ring that notification bell, and if you enjoyed not only this episode, but the last few and this series that I have been going out, staying away from crowds, staying away from people, but still getting my exercise in, walking around, staying active, and getting the blood flowing. Give it a big thumbs up. It lets me know you care. There's something in the trees. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. We'll see you in the next video. The vlog, it's over. Oh, dang. I've been there.